Alright, so we're basically back here in Hatfield for the start of January 2024. Feel very good cars. They're very basics out here. See a special car inside there, might as well go check it out. Now about Aston Martin, we actually got very good special cars here, include this Vital Vantage F1 edition. But check this out, first ever time seeing a customer Aston Martin DB12 Coupe, which is very nice. And a couple of Aston Martins over there. I believe that one there is a 707 edition DBX. So yeah. So if you guys want to know, Lotus just opened up here, and basically first thing we actually got here is the new Almera, which is the last production of the gas powered Lotus will even produce. But everything about it actually is quite that good, including like the car itself. But this one is actually a 6-speed manual, and I believe it's the 3-liter supercharged V6 or the Mercedes 2-liter single turbo 4-cylinder. So outside of Ferrari, we actually got a couple of okay to good selection here of cars, but actually quite fun. We also got more mirrors here, kind of good. This one's a first edition, which is very nice. But yeah, a couple. Also Lamborghini showroom, we actually got very good selection of cars here, which is also quite good. But yeah, you know, very good cars here, but out of all these I might as well go for this because it's a lot more better, and plus it's so freaking good. 296. Okay. Also, the car today just arrived. We also got Pure Sangue also here, which is also quite good. So ladies and gentlemen, I basically invited down here the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ Coupe, which is already sort of pre-spec from factory, but everything about it, so let's get right. So the Aventador SVJ Coupe, which is basically supposed to be Lamborghini's final production of the naturally aspirated V12 platform, but this one, which is basically a curse spec, well pre-spec of it. So yeah, let's get down to details. Start off first, we actually got the paint itself, which is basically called Blanco something, but actual label down here to let you guys know. But it's actually is gloss pearl white to let you know. Plus, it cannot be a Lamborghini Aventador if you basically got the scissor doors, which basically goes up with the hydraulic system. The SVJs normally come with these pre-spec wheels, which are basically all gloss black. I'm not sure they're gloss black wheels, which is also quite good itself, which is quite nice. But everything about it is actually quite very good. And plus the trim itself is actually a $15,000 option. SVJ, which is actually a vinyl option, if you guys want to know. You can have a vinyl or a painted option. It's all up to you. Start off with the interior, you guys can see it's actually all matte carbon. The whole entire chassis, the bucket itself, is actually all matte carbon fiber. And the best thing about it too, it got the sport comfort seats, so a lot more competition. And it's actually a lot more comfortable instead of like having the bucket seats, which are literally like the worst seats of all time. Also here, if you guys want to know, this is the most cheapest interior option to let you know. This right here is literally a $10 placemat. It's literally a skateboard material right here, which is kind of nice. We're now in the interior of the SVJ Coupe. It's actually all Alcantara, which is kind of good, but yeah, if you guys want to know. So yeah, push the start to let you know about that, but we're going to flip that down for safety reasons. But it actually has 4 additional options. Strada, which is basically like, you know, regular driving. Sport mode, which is basically like the name itself could probably sport mode. Corsa, which is more like a track mode. And Ego, which is the special option, is basically included as like your own sort of driving feature, where you could basically calibrate it to basically make it as like your own driving feature to let you know. But yeah, gloss carbon piece, which is also quite good itself, which is quite nice. Well, hello guys, we're basically at the end of January 2024, and today we're basically at a very unique location somewhere about in Wessex. First off, we basically got a Ferrari F50 Roadster in this very lovely Rosa Corsa, even though not very good for like miles per gallon, even though it's a 6-speed gated manual with appears to be Alcantara all around. Sorry, not Alcantara, but leather. Sorry about that. First off here, we actually got a Ferrari F430 Challenge car, which is incredibly nice, also in Rosa Corsa red, which is quite good itself. So yeah, also we got a Ferrari F12 TF, also in Rosa Corsa red, and an Aston Martin Valkyrie, which is the main. So the Aston Martin Valkyrie is basically a limited production. Basically, it is a road legal Formula 1 car on the road, but this one is in its race mode, if you could tell, because the suspension is basically clearly tucked within the fenders, and the paint itself is actually all metallic with the pearlescent flakes, which is quite nice with the red, the gloss red trim, and it's quite nice. Besides, we actually got the Koenigsegg CCXR, which actually came here just to see itself. So the Koenigsegg CCXR is basically all exposed gloss carbon, which is quite an incredible touch if you guys want to know. But the interior itself is actually all red leather, including the 6-speed gated manual, which is using the, still back in the days when Koenigsegg used to start off as the 4.7 liter supercharged V8 from a Ford Model V8. So basically a Swedish car using American engineering, which I loved itself about it. But the wheels, quite nice. Here we got a Porsche Carrera GT, Lamborghini Gallardo first gen Spider, 675 LT McLaren. Here we got the Lotus Exige 25th. I think it's called something like that, but I will give you guys the description here to let you know. Here we got the 992 GT3 Porsche, which is probably the most underrated car here. And we even got like some classics here, including like my dream Porsche here, the 2012 GT3 RS 4.0, which is the last production up to 6-speed manual transmission out of every Porsche whatsoever. We even got the Porsche 911 997 GT3, which is very nice itself. It's either this, even though these two are literally the same exact spec. Like the brake calipers are exact yellow, and this actually is quite nice. We even got my dream Porsche here, the 993 GT2 Porsche, which is quite good itself. We even got, I think this is a Singer or something like that. We even got a few Porsches here, which honestly, I'm a huge Porsche guy, but this one honestly caught my attention because look at it, it's so good. I think we got a 73 Carrera, which is quite good. I think it's actually a long tail at the back. We even got an old Target top, which is quite nice. And honestly, the most underrated version, the 996, which is also quite good. Well, actually is one of the most underlooked Porsches, because if you come look at the front here, the main reason why is just the headlights, because when you look at the Porsche's headlights, they actually a lot more like the oval shape. Meanwhile, the 997s, the 996s are like oval, but the most rarest car here in this car collection so far is this 720S GT3, which is honestly a limited production of a 720S. I see one of these before when it was back in the McLaren showroom back in 2021 during COVID, but it's actually all exposed carbon, but this one is basically all gloss black. Even though you see bits of gloss carbon as like within the headlight indents, but the interior itself is actually a lot more complex and a lot more compactish compared to a regular 720S interior. We even got a 991.2 GT3 over here, which is basically very nice blue. We even got a Lancia Delta here, which is very good. There's also a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 6 there in the back. Ferrari F55 over there. Sorry, F355. Another 992. We got 993 Carrera S. I think this is a turbo. Old Alfa Romeo. Ooh, I think this is the Lamborghini Yalpa or the Espada, if I could remember correctly. It's 575 Maranello, which is the most underrated Ferrari V12, but F80 M3, which is also quite good. Kind of a decent spec. Kind of do want to get one. Audi R6 C7 Avant, which is also quite good itself. We even got a Corvette C3 there in the back, Grand Sport. We even got a BMW M5 E60 here in the back, which is honestly the most underrated V10s of all time. If you know, you know. We even got a close-up look at the interior of the F355. Notice that it's not a 6-speed gated manual transmission, but it's the 6-speed 4-in-1 single clutch transmission. I would imagine how good does it basically sounds like while driving. 575 Maranello. Honestly, my dream underrated Ferrari V12, cause why Bad Boys 2? But the interior is basically all leather, and the best thing about it too, the 6-speed gated manual transmission, which is honestly the perfect touch to it. Save the manual. Now we basically look at the interior of the Carrera GT, but this is basically the perfect pre-spec version of the regular base offer Carrera GT. The 6-speed manual transmission, which is basically up there and it's basically on an inclined plane, so basically a lot more easier, like shift. But check out the interior of the version Gallardo Spider. 6-speed gated manual transmission, which if that makes it even more rare. Like, I could imagine how it basically sounds while driving, where you could basically hear the clunks whenever you basically try to shift gears. It must sound amazing. So we basically got a very distinctive look, and it's basically all carbon. Like, the whole entire chassis is just carbon fiber with the red seats. But yeah, even carbon on the steering wheel, which is also quite good itself. But the important touch of detail is basically this car has vortex generators, which basically goes down into the duct vent to basically cool down the 4.7 liter supercharged V8, which is quite good. And now we basically have a good close-up interior of the Aston Martin Valkyrie, which is basically an all gloss carbon tub. But the thing about it, that you basically are laying down and you basically put your legs all the way in there, and the pedals are literally right there. And the steering wheel is basically detachable, even though it does have the steering wheel currently. And for side mirrors are basically the cameras, like right about there, which are basically this is the side mirror itself, which is basically quite good. And now we'll get on with the quirks and features about the Valkyrie. Notice how this is literally an all one carbon piece. And the thing about it too, it's literally the most loosest piece about here. And getting this, it's actually very fragile itself. It's like, it basically moves a bit, so what? But yeah, driving it, especially out in central London, will be such a credible pain, because the only bit that you have to worry about is literally this whole entire piece just about here, and literally the whole entire carbon lip as well. This is literally the most important bit that you have to worry about, which is quite bizarre for a car like this. Wow, sitting inside of a Ferrari F50 Roadster, like, check this out. Honestly, the seats themselves are like very, very tight, which I very like. The 6-speed gated manual transmission, which the gear lever is basically all gloss carbon, which is very nice. Important touch to detail. And the steering wheel is basically all leather, which is basically gives it a lot more of a perfect touch. So yeah. And to conclude for today's journey, which car would you mind picking down in the comments section? For me, honestly, F12 TDF, Carrera GT, CCXR, GT3 RS 4.0 there in the back, and 993 GT2 over there, which is quite good. So yeah. Anyways, time for me to go. Well, we're back again, GBE for January of 2024 to see what they basically have. So yeah. Sorry outside within the reception area, the only car here is just an Urus. And I think that's a 4-seater Cosworth, Ferrari California 991.2 Carrera S's Targa tops. So not Targa, but Cabriolet. Starting basically at the main entrance, Schumacher's Enzo, allegedly, still be here. We got a 488 Pista Spider, which I believe is a tailor-made spec. But check out the interior. It's basically all like burgundy, like maroon Alcantara, which is quite good itself with stripped out interior. F430 Scuderia Spider, I think this is the 16M Scuderia, which is quite nice. 296 812 GTS 458 Speciale. The main car which I actually came here to see is basically this. And the car which I basically came here to see is basically this, guys. If you guys don't know, it's a Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, but the body kit it basically has on it is the Barry Onyx 2FX, basically custom carbon aero kit. Sorry if I'm coughing. Starting out over here, we actually got the Vendor SV Coupe, but this car right here is basically like the other car I came here to see, the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT Trackhawk. The guys do or don't know, this is the same exact one I basically spotted during my first ever time spotting back in March of 2021. So this car is literally the first time I ever saw it was on Park Lane, and I actually will give you guys the link right about here, or basically show the clip of it just about here to let you know. Also here, we actually got a very nice spec of this SF9 Stradale Coupe, even though it looks like McLaren's Fisher Blue, but I forgot what blue button basically called, but I actually will give you guys the, spec of the blue right here to let you know. Here we got the DBX 707 also there, G-Wagon, Urus S there in the back, another F12 Berlinetta which is quite nice, Huracan Evo all-wheel drive Spider which is quite good. Here we got my favorite car here, the Lamborghini Murcielago. So many people may be wondering, this is the Lamborghini Murcielago LP640-4, but the body kit which basically looks like an SB, but in reality is really not. This is the Veilside Prairie 4509 body kit, which is only one out of 300 ever made worldwide, only exclusive for the first generation in the LP640s and the LP650 Roadsters. Very nice of a Maybach, if I do say so myself, which is quite good. But probably my most favorite and most rarest car here, the Porsche 991.1 GT3 RS, but the color itself which makes it rare because this is called Ultraviolet Purple. Also here, starting out with this side, we basically got, this, quite good. Aston Martin V12 Vantage S in this very lovely blue, DBS, my all-time dream Aston Martin, the MC Cobra 427, which is quite good, V12 Vantage, the new Aston Martin V12 Vantage, 720S Spider, Huracan Evo all-wheel drive Spider, 720S Coupe, SLR McLaren Coupe, another 991.1 GT3 RS in the base spec Magma Orange, which is called. It's got the SLR McLaren Roadster, which is quite good. But check out the interior. Quite in fact nice. I saw the one before during back in 2022, which is quite good itself. We even got the Aventador SVJ Coupe, but this one particularly does got a very cool exhaust itself, which is probably like my third favorite exhaust for an SVJ in general. It's actually got the full Caprizo exhaust system, which in fact shoots like very crazy massive flames like coming out there. When it comes to like best exhaust for SVJ, Gintani, Caprizo, IPE, Brook Racing, and Exhaust Tech, which is probably like my top 5 favorite exhausts for just an SVJ. So this Aventador Roadster actually has a very unique body kit. If you look at it, you probably may be wondering what it looks like in SB. It's actually called the ISR body kit, which is, a good replicated kit comes straight from Cyrus, which is, quite in fact do like it myself. We got the Huracan Performante Coupe in satin black, which is quite good. My most favorite Aventador SB Roadster here, this absolute spec is just gorgeous. The interior itself, how it basically saturated to like an indigo violet, which is good itself. And we even got the two Aventador S Coupes, which is quite good. This blue one, I actually in fact do like the most, but that gunship metal gray is just absolutely perfect for me. We also at the outside section, which is basically like the service place here. It's really not that sort of special around here, even though there's an Aventador DB8, I believe, or is that DB9? But 720S, G-Wagons, Bentegas, 650S Spider, 458 Italia, 458 Italia, first generation Maserati Quattrofoglio right there. Here we got, wow, kind of a unique spec called a base model Urus. We got the first gen Bentayga, 599 GTB, Portofino M. We got the Bossman 720S right there. Here we got the 812 GTS in a very lovely like blood velvet red, like deep But check out the wheels. This is probably the first ever time ever seeing chrome stock wheels on an A12. Here we got the 4A Pisa Coupe. Here we got the F8 Tributo Coupe over here. Both of them, in fact, are actually tuned by Novatec. 800 horsepower right here, which is quite good. The thing about the Baryonyx kit is the carbon fiber itself. So it's actually gloss carbon, but this unique pattern of stitching is remarkable. It's like, I don't know how to basically describe it, but it's probably the most unique carbon I ever seen on any car itself in general. And that basically concludes GBE of January of 2024. Which car would you rather go for? I'll say it again, the blue indigo to violet Aventador SB Roadster, probably the ISR Aventador Roadster as well, and the ultraviolet purple 901.1 GT RS over there, and the SRT Trackhawk and the Murcielago. Alright, so we're basically back again in European Prestige, and this time we got the gimbal. First thing first, we actually are starting off with this very nice Aventador SVJ Coupe, which the spec itself is actually quite amazing itself. But yeah. And also beside it, we also got the Aventador Ultimate, which is the official last production of the Lamborghini Naturally Aspirated V12 platform. And beside it, we actually got the Huracan Performante Coupe, which is very nice, kind of goodish. And we've also got the Audi RA V10 Performance Spider, which is very good in this very lovely metallic blue in a way, so yeah. So on here we got the AMG GT Black Series, which basically looks the similar exact color as a AMG GTR launch spec. We also got the AMG GTR Pro, which is very good. 599 GTL, which is like my dream modern Ferrari V12. F12 Bernetta, also the other dream Ferrari V12. F12 TDF, my ultimate dream goal Ferrari V12. SF9 Stradale, which is very good. SF90 Stradale Spider in a tailor-made spec, which is very good. And the McLaren Senna, which is also quite good itself, which is an MSO spec. Also here we got the Porsche 911 991.2 GT3 RS and the 992 GT3 RS, which is quite a very interesting combo, but I kind of do like both of them, even though I like this one more because it's a lot more classy. This one, I started to begin to grow on them, but not as much as the 992 GT3s. But we also got the 991.1 911 GT2 RS, which is quite an amazing car itself. Like, look at it. Even though it is still on the top 10 most fastest production cars on the Nürburgring, it's still a very good car itself. Also here we got the Porsche 911 992 GT3s, which is basically the mid-range version of the GT3 RS. We got number 1 over there, number 2, number 3. That one over there is a 992 Sports Classic, which is very good itself. You also got the 992 Turbo S over here, which is very nice. Another 992 Turbo S in Ruby Stone Red, which is very good itself. You also got the 992 GT3 all over here in the same exact shark blue, similar to this one, which is also quite good itself. Just look at these beauties itself. Even though I am a huge Porsche guy, I so definitely want Ruby Stone Red. Such an interesting German combo right here. Also, we got the Audi R6 C8 Avant, which is basically like my all-time dream Audi right here. The 4-liter twin-turbo V8 produces about 591 horsepower, which is still to this day like very pristine, and it's basically the fastest hatchback wagon that you could also get. You could also get this, or basically my most favorite one here, the Audi R7 Sportsback, which is like the R6 Avant, still 4.0 liter twin turbo V8, 597 horsepower, but this one is basically unusual because this is the Apt RSR kit, which is 125 ever made, and basically this one, what you're looking at, is basically over 700 to 800 horsepower, which is incredible. Also here we actually got a very rare car, even though I did mention it, the M4 CSL G82, which is Also here we basically got probably the most nicest modern day BMW I've ever seen. This is the M5 F90 competition, which all finished in this very lovely spark purple with the satin bronze gold wheels, like brush gold wheels with the red brake calipers. But check out the interior. It's basically all white, all refurnished and everything, and it's all detailed to the brim. So many people don't really expect this. This you probably looking at is probably a regular Renault. But what I basically gotta tell you, this is the Renault Clio V6, which is basically one of the most rarest cars to even get in all of Europe. So and here we have, ladies and gentlemen, probably the most cleanest example of a Nissan GTR R35. So this one particularly is a 2021, but the thing about it, it got the R35 stock Nismo wheels, which is quite an amazing touch to it. And the exhaust tips is actually all titanium. And you're probably thinking to yourself, it's probably aftermarket, but those tips are basically a factory auction, about 5,000 for just those tips themselves. And here we have, ladies and gentlemen, probably the most rarest and the most expensive car from the 1990s to the early 2000s. This is a Nissan Skyline GTR R34, but you may be thinking to yourself, is it a V-Spec? It's an M-Spec 1, which actually makes it very rare itself, because normally every GTRs I ever get to see is normally like to be V-Spec 1s to V-Spec 2s, but this one, M-Spec 1, you can basically see right there, it says M-Spec. Also here we basically got my dream modern classic BMW, the E46 M3, but this is basically a regular standard model ones. But these three over here, which you probably may think to yourself, they probably are like regular E46 M3s. Sorry, four of these. These are the E46 CSLs, which are literally the most expensive BMWs that you will even come across within your life. How expensive I'm talking about? So this one particularly is basically a old retro build. So basically it just got rebuilt and everything. This one is basically on the lot for nearly 340,000 for a BMW from the early 2000s. Probably the most cleanest E36 M3. I'm pretty much sure this is a CS E36 M3s, but these particular BMWs are starting to begin to grow on me, because number one, they actually happens to be like the most overused BMWs, especially in the European world. Probably the most example of a perfect clean E30 M3. But the thing about it, it got aftermarket wheels. 16 or basically 17-inch BBS modular S wheels, which are like center caps and everything about it, which basically gives it a lot more like a retro spec type look. Also here we basically got the luxury car like lineup, starting off with the Cayenne, but this one's a hybrid. This one I want like so badly. This is the Audi RS-Q8 with the App RSR kit, which is basically make it look like a Lamborghini Urus Performante, even though here's an example, this is the Urus S. And what I basically tell you, these cars are literally just the same, except this one's a lot more cheaper and it's actually a lot more reliable than this right here, because this is literally 300,000 and this is literally just about 74 to nearly 122,000 for just for this. And the kit itself, which actually makes it so nice. I actually got, Bentley Bentegas. This is a second generation, first generation Bentayga. And we also got the Audi, I don't call it Audi, Rolls-Royce Cullinan. And the thing about it is actually is forged carbon. Like, check this out, just real forged carbon, and it's basically like such a good unique touch to it, and the literal symbol or emblem of Rolls-Royce right there. And the thing about this, if you guys don't even know, this is literally a BMW X7M, but literally with a 400,000 facelift, which is they took a German car and they make it a lot more British. And it's actually a lot more comfortable itself. Also, Taycan Turbo S, even though it's literally an electric car. So yeah. Now, the question of the day, out of every car which I'm more likely will pick, I get 3 options. So, starting off with number 1, the E46 M3 CSL, which is basically like my only bet here, of which I could base at about 400,000 right now. Number 2, basically the R7 App R Kit, which is like could be like my main like daily driver. R6 Avant, I'm more likely will consider that as like in my honorable mentions list. Just basically needs a better body kit, but the boss's wheels I actually will give a lot more points to that. Nissan GTR R35, I could consider that as well, but to be honest, I might as well make it 5. E46 CSL, R7, R6, GTR, and could be like my main focus as like a supercar wise, the SVJ Coupe, which is literally right about there.
Sometimes I wonder if I'm better off lonely. They want the truth so they know they can call on me. Like what you mean? She wanna act like she has morals, but she don't. Ops wanna hit me up to kick it, but I won't. I struggle trusting genuineness is